Lovely. Lisa, take us forward.
All right. Well, we'll start on question 1, and as Councillor Harvey rightly pointed out, these are just our suggestions, but we're happy to talk about anything that you want to talk about tonight or anything you want to see in the policies. But we'll kick off with question number 1, which relates to open space. And I think perhaps for this, if we could just have an officer just telling us how we define open space, because it's not always that clear. So perhaps.
Okay, I'm just going to use the definition that we've used in our core strategy, which is the sort of sister document to the City Management Plan. And that says that open space includes all parks and gardens, regardless of size, whether public or private, the River Thames and the canals and their towpaths, civic spaces, children's playgrounds, including school playgrounds, ball courts and other outdoor sport facilities, amenity green spaces such as open spaces on housing estates, churchyards and community gardens. So as you can see, it's quite a broad definition.
Okay, so the first question is, in order to address existing public open space deficiencies and future need, should the City Council seek improved public open space in all developments above certain size threshold and within areas of open deficiency? And if we can just clarify, we've had a discussion amongst ourselves, and in some ways this question's perhaps not worded as well as it could be. Do you think that all large applications or applications of a certain size should include areas of open space? Or should our focus really be in those areas of open space deficiency, which are the ones that are shown on the map at the back of the room there, just above the water? I don't know if anyone wants to kick off with a view on that.
Would it be possible for somebody to say a little bit more about deficiency? Because I notice I live in a street which is almost deficient. Half the street is deficient and half isn't. But it's all within 10 or 12 minutes walk of Hyde Park. So obviously there's some criteria being applied here that I personally don't quite understand.
Okay, a couple of years ago the council did an open space strategy where we basically did an audit of all open space and access to open space. And I believe areas of open deficiency are seen as areas deficient in publicly accessible play space and areas deficient in open space. And we looked at spaces greater than 0.4 of a hectare, which were considered suitable for informal play. And just generally, as you can probably see on the map, it's mainly South Westminster. It's the areas in blue, so it's mainly South Westminster and areas to the north and northwest of Westminster. In terms of distance, I think it was done on a more qualitative basis. So obviously, if something prevents you from getting to the park, then that would be an area of deficient because you can't actually get to it. So it's not just purely done on terms of distance to parks.
I wonder if I could chip in. I sit on planning as well, and certainly we've been asking for more green roofs to help biodiversity, avoid flooding, and so on. If we get a lot of green roofs, would that contribute towards open space, or?
Well, the definition of open space is quite a broad space. It's quite a broad definition. I think it depends on the nature of the green roof. We sometimes call them living roofs as well. Some living roofs may form a garden on the roof, in which case it could well be an open space, but others there's no access, and in which case I don't think it would come under the definition of accessible open space.
Tom?
You referred to the document that assessed the amount of open space throughout the borough. And two facts came out of that one. One was the significance that Westminster placed on the royal parks within the borough, for which I think I'm right, Westminster Council makes no financial contribution. I might be wrong on that. And the second point was that because Churchill Gardens, an area of, in old language, 32 acres, provided a very good amount of open space in all forms, from play areas and general amenity space, and large kickabout spaces, the council said, well, this, when taken with a large part of South Westminster, meant that there was no deficiency in that area of South Westminster because all of those people living beyond Churchill Gardens but didn't have any amenity or recreation space could use Churchill Gardens. Well, there are two things that came out of that. One, this was sort of sleight of hand in terms of statistics, and two, the open space in Churchill Gardens is paid for by the residents of Churchill Gardens. So that was not a very nice thing to have done. So coming back to your question, we need, I think, amenity open space and play space and recreation space throughout the whole of Westminster. It's not a question of an either-or, addressing just the deficiency areas. All developments should be required to provide open space. And why? The open space is spiritually useful and a great asset to residents and workers who visit or occupy Westminster Borough. Secondly, the natural habitat that is provided is a great thing for the general habitat within Westminster. Green roofs will also improve the habitat for wildlife, for insects, for butterflies, for bees, for birds, what have you. But the green roofs will not be amenity space as such because people cannot play on there or you cannot visit that space. So I just want not to lose any green space whatsoever in the borough, and I want the provision of open space, amenity open space, throughout the borough, and that every developer should have a requirement, and the council should require that, so that any development actually includes that. And just the last point, and why I say the council should do it, we've seen the plans for the development of the Victoria Transport Interchange Triangle. The amount of open space is ridiculously small, and that open space that is provided is even very bad open space in that plan because of its orientation and overcrowding of the buildings. I've said enough, I think.
Well, Tom, I just wonder if there's a minimum, if somebody's developing a certain size. I mean, did you say it was less than half a hectare? At the moment, there's no requirement.
Part of the study, yeah, it was 0.4 hectare.
0.4. I mean, do you have a view on...
How many acres is it?
That's about an acre-ish. Is that right, Tom? About an acre?
I'm not too good on the hectares. Sorry.
2.2.
So 0.4 of a hectare is about an acre. So, do you think... I mean, that's...
Well, there have been standards in the past. And even Westminster, I hesitate to suggest, used to have standards which were, well, let me put it this way. Churchill Gardens was created by the town clerk of Westminster. He set the brief. And he set the brief for not only the space standards of the housing, but all of the amenity facilities within the... So Westminster can do it.
Yes, and Westminster is, of course, also obliged to... what's our population growth going to be over the next X years? I can't remember, but something like another 50% over a 20-year period. I've probably got those statistics wrong, but it's in that kind of order. So thank you.